right. Hey friends, it's Beth from R&B Farms, and I'm off the farm today. I am currently at the Post Center, and I'm going to be cooking up two of our farm favorites. So I'm going to start with a dish. Both of these dishes you can make in 45 minutes or less, and they are one-pot dishes, means cleanup's going to be super simple. But the dishes I'm going to highlight today, one will be featuring our chorizo, which is a Mexican style or flavored pork sausage. And then the other is going to be featuring our ground steak, our hamburger steak. This is 2 8-ounce patties. Both dishes will use potato. I've got sweet potato for the chorizo and yellow gold for the ground beef. So real quick, I'm going to start my timer and I'm going to try to make 2 meals in 45 minutes or less. Can she do it? Timer on. All right, I have preheated both skillets and I have added just a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and in my cast iron, I'm going to add our chorizo. Chorizo has been one of our best sellers from the farm. We like it as tacos. We like it with eggs. I'm going to be adding the eggs today. And we like it with sweet potato. Okay, now you might think sweet potato and egg sounds like an odd combination, but I guarantee you're going to love it. So what I'm going to do with the chorizo is I'm just going to break it up so that it's going to be in smaller pieces. And cooking with that chorizo, I'm going to go ahead and put my sweet potatoes that I have diced, and I had 3 sweet potatoes to almost a pound of chorizo. So sweet potatoes are going into the dish now. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on, let that cook for a little while. So meal number 1, sweet potatoes and chorizo. I'm going to start on meal number 2. Meal number 2, I'm going to be featuring that ground beef hamburger steak. So you get 2 8-ounce patties in a pack. Again, preheated the skillet, so with just a little bit of olive oil and adding the ground beef. Now at this point, I'm going to break and wash my hands, because after you handle fresh meat, you should always give your hands a wash. So lid on the skillet, and I'll be right back. All right, back from hand washing. Now I have pre-washed my potatoes, and real quick, I'm going to cut those up into chunks. They're not going to be as small as diced, but just a little cut potato to go into our skillet. And also in our skillet, I'm going to add the flavor trinity. Do you guys know what the flavor trinity is? That would be, in my kitchen, diced carrots, diced celery, and diced onion. Almost every dish I cook has onion in it. All right, so I have 4 yellow gold potatoes. Then I'm going to add into my skillet with the ground beef steaks. Trying to get all the chunks kind of the same size. They're not going to be exactly equal. But I quarter my potato, and then I just slide down and cut them into chunks. All right, get to the end. Sometimes you have to flip those ends over to keep it symmetrical. All right, with the ground beef now, I'm adding the flavor trinity: diced carrots, diced celery, diced onion. I'm cooking the first time ever on an induction stove. So I don't know how this is going to work, but I think it's going to work out. All right, and then adding my diced potatoes. The flavor that I use, or the seasoning that I use, is Montreal steak. If you haven't discovered this, the Montreal steak seasoning is very rich, has a very unique garlicky smell. I'm going to give that a good shake and cover that. And then we're just going to let that cook. So a little bit about R&B Farm. We are a pasture-raised pork, beef, and chicken operation. And we also have free-range eggs. And I'm going to be using those in the dish later. Going back to my chorizo to give that a little stir. Remember the chorizo and the potatoes. This was meal number 1. And I am about 6 minutes into the meal. So 6 minutes, I've got both dishes going at the same time. Chorizo is browning up nicely. So this is a dish too that if you wanted to add fresh kale into the dish, give it a little more color, make it just a tad more healthy. It seems like anything, if you want it to be healthy food, it's going to have kale in it. I didn't have any at home today, so we're going to go without kale. But the chorizo's cooking up nicely. I'm going to take that temperature up just a little bit as I'm learning this stove. It might take things a little bit longer, but I am looking at about medium temperature on both dishes. So back to R&B Farm. Right now we are getting about 60 eggs a day from our free-range hens. Our hens are cooped at night. We go in, we shut them up. We let them out every morning. We feed them a feed that is made weekly, and we go pick it up weekly from Mule City Feeds in Benson. Our girls love it. This year, I've also started turning those feed bags into a shopping tote. So instead of us sending all of that into the landfill, because we do feed, we've got 90 plus chickens, we do feed a lot. We're trying to do our part to lessen the carbon footprint of the farm, and recycling the feed bags is one way to do it. So I can already smell that chorizo cooking. It smells so good. I am loving the way this is working out so far. With our pasture-raised beef and pork, our pigs are kept in the pasture. We raise Berkshire, which is a heritage breed pork. They are loved and fed well right until it's time for them to be processed. Then our processing takes place off-site. We have 2 processors that we use for that. On the farm right now, this week, we got in our first shipment of meat chickens. This is going to be our 2nd year providing meat chickens to our customers. We raise Cornish cross. We do them in batches of 25 to 50, since it's just Farmer Rex and I when it comes processing time to get all of that done. We found that 25 and 50 is a manageable number for us. Last year was our first year doing it. We were the recipients of the NC Ag Ventures grant, and that's how we got started into poultry production. So, again, in this video, I am cooking 2 meals, and I am shooting for 45 minutes or less. The 2 meals that I'm preparing for you today will be the chorizo sweet potato eggs, and I have our ground steak with potatoes and my flavor trinity, which is celery, carrots, and onion. So things are going to cook. Right now, I've got just break. So we're going to come back. I'm at the 9-minute mark. Things are going well. You too can cook these meals in your kitchen. All right, I am at the 12-minute mark. We've allowed things to cook a little bit. While we're still cooking, I want to talk to you a little bit about the way I do things in my kitchen. Again, I am not a professional, just putting that out there. I know that some of you may see this and cringe at the way I'm doing it, but I promise you the food tastes good. If you don't believe me, look at Rex. He eats well at my house. But I want to talk to you about some tips and tricks that I've learned over the last couple of years. So one thing that I do in preparing that flavor trinity, I always just go ahead and fix my celery and my cucumbers, whether it's a whole bag or whether you're getting it fresh at the market. So I will go ahead and cut it up, prepare it, stick it in. I love using these jars. You're not using plastic, but I will do it into manageable little snack sizes. And then that way I don't have an excuse when I'm hungry and I need something, nutritious and not fattening to nibble on. I've got these carrot sticks and celery ready to go. I keep them fresh by just adding a little bit of water. I just go in and turn it over sometimes maybe once a day just to make sure that the celery and the carrots stay hydrated. The grandkids love eating these, so I've already got them cooked. I can throw them on their lunch plates. Good to go. Tip and trick, saves time. Do it all at one time. Stick it in the jar. Good for at least a week or more. All right. The other thing that we're big on the farm is composting. Now, when I'm on the farm, I don't get to compost a lot because I consider the chickens to be my composter. So any of the food scraps that the cutting up the carrots and the onions and the celery, I give that straight to the chickens. It goes right out and they get that. Now, the thing that I can't give them would be potato peels because evidently it's toxic to chickens. So the peels from my potatoes today, as well as the shells from my eggs today, are going into the compost bin here at the Post Center. Now, the Post Center has partnered with a company, Compost Now. They compost here in Raleigh. They will take your scraps and they will turn them into compost that they can bring back to you, and you can use it in your plants, in your house plants, or in your garden beds at home. And that way you don't have to deal with composting. So I am saving the potato peels and the eggshells to go into the compost at the Post Center. I'm going to go back to the dishes now. I am sitting on the 15-minute mark, and the first thing I'm going to do is just give this chorizo, sweet potatoes, a little stir. The chorizo no longer has the pink tint, so it has browned up nicely. The potatoes are cut into chunks, so they are softening. So we're going to go ahead and just let that do its thing. Now, the beauty of cast iron is you can do this on the stove just like I'm doing it, or if you want to take it and you want to pop it into an oven, you can pop it into the oven and let those sweet potatoes continue to cook there. If you were going to add kale, this might be the time that you want to go ahead and do that. All right. Dish number one, we are looking at the chorizo, and again, we're at the 16-minute mark, and I would say that we're already halfway done. I might get 2 meals in less than 45 minutes. I don't know. So dish number two is going to be the ground beef steaks, those hamburger steaks. So Rex and I discovered this as a quick and easy meal. We come in from working out on the farm, and we were both starving and didn't know what to fix. And I made this up, and we loved it. So therefore, it became something that we eat on a regular basis. So what I'm doing is I'm going to turn the patties over for the first time. They should be completely browned on that one side. This is 2 8-ounce patties. And I'm just going to move my vegetables back over on top of the patty that I turned so I can turn my other patty. Oh, I wish that this were smeller vision. If this were smeller vision, then you could smell how that celery is so aromatic and the onion. I love the smells of a kitchen that's cooked in. Here at the Post Center, as these smells start wafting down the hall, hopefully it's going to bring some interest because this is going to be lunch for them today. So again, we are cooking 2 meals I've got the chorizo sweet potato and the ground beef with veggies. Now, if I were serving this at home and this were going to be dinner, there is one staple that I try to keep in my refrigerator at all times, and that's my mom's marinated coleslaw. It is a turmeric slaw. It goes with just about everything. It is delicious on our hot links, on our brats, on our kielbasa. We eat it with everything, and during the summer, it is definitely a staple. If I'm invited to come to your house for a barbecue, then you better believe I am bringing my mom's marinated coleslaw with me. It's turmeric based. It's a beautiful yellow color, and it adds just beauty to your plate, especially with these two dishes. It pairs nicely. The other thing that these two dishes would complement would be just a green salad. You don't have to do anything fancy, okay? So 2 meals in less than 45 minutes. Okay, I am at the 26-minute mark from setting the timer, and I am probably well over halfway into these cooked dishes. So one thing that I want to point out is that with our chorizo sweet potato dish, I don't add any other seasoning. I have found that for us, the seasoning in the chorizo has just the right amount of salt to accompany the dish. Now, if you are looking at a lower salt diet, this might be one of the things that as you add other items to the chorizo or to the ground beef or to our sausage, then start with not adding salt at all and then taste it. Everybody's salt palate's just a little bit different, but again, we want to limit as much as possible. So the sweet potatoes have softened. I'm going to talk to you about the addition of eggs. So we eat eggs on the farm mostly every morning for breakfast, but when we have an abundance, we will throw them into lunches and dinners too. So this recipe is great for a breakfast, a brunch, a lunch, or a dinner because it's going to have your meat, your veggies, and your eggs. My husband was first introduced to eating sweet potatoes for breakfast in New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina. He had to, with his company, travel to New Orleans, and he came back telling me that he had a sweet potato omelet almost every day, and he loved it. So we started having sweet potatoes for breakfast at my house. I'm going to lay these eggs on the sweet potato chorizo, kind of like making a little bird's nest. So I always, with these free-range eggs, they are not refrigerated. I keep them in the wire basket on my counter. They are perfectly safe there. They produce this nice yellow egg. If you've ever wondered, what's the difference in a farm fresh egg? Taste and color. All right, taste and color. So I'm adding my first egg, and I try to pour it so that I keep it together for the most part. And it's going to end up looking like a little sunny side up egg sitting there on top of the chorizo and the sweet potatoes. All right, cracking into a dish and then just pouring it straight over. That way I'm able to tell if I'm dropping any shells, if there's anything in the egg that maybe I want to remove before putting it into my pot. And I'm going to use 4 eggs. This would be a great meal for 4 people. Everybody would get 1 egg and the chorizo and sausage. Perfect. All right, put my lid back on and let the sweet potatoes and the eggs cook. All right, going back to my ground beef dish. This is dish number 2, those ground steaks with potatoes and the flavor trinity. I have browned them on both sides now. So I'm going to take the beef, and now I'm going to put the beef on top of the veggies. That way the beef is not going to get overcooked, but the veggies are still going to cook. And I am at 30 minutes, and I would say that we are really 5 minutes away from eating 2 meals, highlighting our R&B ground steak, our hamburger steak, and our chorizo. So just gonna spread those veggies out a little bit. Potatoes are softening. Eggs are cooking. Man, it's a great day. Okay, I'm at the 36-minute mark now, and I have completely finished the ground beef dish. So it's our 8-ounce patties with flavor Trinity and diced yellow potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and turn that burner off now. Maybe this induction. Okay, and then my eggs are still cooking, depending on how you like your eggs, over easy. This is a dish that as you could turn it off now and it would continue to cook. And it's basically ready too. So my goal was to crank out 2 meals in 45 minutes or less. So at the 37-minute mark, I probably did spend at least 10 minutes doing some prep work of the flavor Trinity at home, the gathering of my ingredients. So maybe I'll say it was 47 minutes. But still, 2 meals in that amount of time, super easy. You too can cook this in your kitchen. So you can find R&B Farms online, rnbfarm.com. You can also find us at the Fuquay-Varina Growers Market every Saturday. The market hours right now are 9 to 1. We are a regular vendor along with several others. If you've never been, come over, check them out. We also sell straight from the store. So rnbfarm.com, you can find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. We definitely want to connect with you. We would love to be your supplier of pasture-raised beef, pork, chicken, and free-range eggs. Thanks to the Post Center, thanks to Whitley Films for being here and helping me out. I have been blessed with the best friends in the world. I love food.